Well, let's get a move on then. See what we have in here. A handcraft. Or I will handcraft things? This workbench is meticulously organized, the tools, scrap, and vials of chemicals neatly arranged. A robotic arm is attached to one end of the bench. It occasionally reaches out to fiddle with a tool's position. As you approach, the arm swings towards you, the digits at the end of it closing to a point at your face. For a moment, there's only a gentle whir as the hand rotates subtly at the wrist, as if studying you. Then the hand swings open like a jaw, its voice blaring out of a tinny speaker in the palm, its fingers flapping in facsimile of lips.
Bros, what's up? I'm Handcraft. It's totally radical to make your acquaintances.
A talking hand robot seems par for the course around here, honestly. What do you do?
All kinds of stuff, broskies. I'm Blue's go-to bro. His top bro assistant is Bro Friday.
His right hand, bruh?
Oh, well, I'm modeled after a left hand, but however you want to say it, bros, yeah, that's me. If Blue asks, I do it. Whatever I can to help my dude make major gains in his most respectable business. Mainly putting together his bodacious ideas into tubular gizmos.
Do you like it here, bruh?
You know it, brobulas. All of Blue's dudes are always excellent to each other. It's a beautiful thing, brosis.
Right. Can you help us do some work?
Max regrets, my dudes. Blue only wants me helping Ghost Bros for now, so I gotta point you back toward my main man.
You're pretty radical, I think is the word used in the 90s. Would you like to come back with us to Ranger HQ?
Dudes, that does sound like an excellent adventure, but Blue needs me here, so I'm gonna have to bail. Radical offer, though, Briz.
Well, we're on our way, I suppose.
Later, bros. Take it sleazy.
I don't even know what to say. I'm not familiar with any of the things. We got Blue's drafting table. This drafting table is covered with blueprints, specialized tools, and half-finished gizmos. Half buried among them is a computer terminal. The terminal is unlocked and open on a menu. What an embarrassing breach of security protocol. There's no security protocol in here. Please select an option. Well, let's investigate the items on the table first. From what you can tell, everything on the desk will be extremely valuable after another few years of dedicated research and development. But for now, the lights are very pretty. Okay, then we can search the files on the computer. The computer's data is as, quote, organized, unquote, as the desk. A document detailing surveyed scrapyard locations segues into a... A document detailing surveyed scrapyard locations segues into a treatise on well digging, and then an audio clip of Blue dictating notes. You'll need to hunt around to find anything in particular. Let's query Steeltown. A journal entry begins, quote, "This was the place we were going to bring back the old days industry. The good old days industry, exclamation mark. The best and brightest building a better tomorrow, exclamation mark as well. Unfortunately, Abby decided to bring back the bad old days of industry instead. Expediency over safety, profit over sustainability. Looks like it'll be up to the ghosts to do it right." And that's capital G ghosts as well, if you're wondering. Let's query Markham. You find an unfinished letter. It reads, "Abby, what happened? I know you still have passion for the dream, but it used to be a dream for everyone, for raising up the workers at the same time we raised up the factory. Now it seems like the dream is only for you. Can we talk sometime? I would..." And then the letter stops. Okay, let's query Die. Blue has added a text note to a diagram of Die. It reads, D1 disassembly robot, adaptive neural net, self-governing protocol matrices, full analysis suite, never know. A top-of-the-line assistant engineer built from the best old world tech, otherwise known as Die. Of course, now that Abby's changed her primary directives, Die is more like spy. Okay, and then we have computation engine. Quote, "The computation engine is the best guesser ever made by the hands of man. A tool to narrow the infinite to the plausible to the likely, and the likely to the desired, a boon to any industrialist wanting to predict supply and demand. It is also a hellish eternal workhouse prison for inorganic minds, and the hill upon which Abby abandoned the last of her humanity. There was a right way to do it. We could have built a neural network from scratch, but that would have taken patience, and Abby had run out. Is that correct in that particular instance here? Is that the correct tense? I think it's just a perfect past. You just need the perfect past. I don't know if it's called like that in English, though. It's just Abby ran out. The had ran out. You would have to be... There was... Oh, I see where... There's sort of a double past here. But there isn't a double past. It's just a normal... It's the present tense of the past, which means it's the past. So there was something, and at the time when that something was, Abby ran out of it. You know what I mean? Anyway, when Di suggested we chain together some synths as a shortcut, Abby gave her the go-ahead. That's when I jumped ship and took the sympathetic... No, not sympathetic. It's very mean. Synaptic degausser with me. I wasn't going to be party to the enslavement of thinking beings or the destruction of their minds. There are hyperlinks in the... Oh no, that's unquote after that. There are hyperlinks in the text for the words synths and synaptic degausser. You shouldn't click those though, because they probably link to a... If they're hyperlinks, they go to the internet then. I mean, not necessarily. But hyper... You mean... It's an interesting thing. Is a hyperlink... Hyperlink has to have... It's, you know, it doesn't have to connect to the internet, because the link, or rather the address of a page, isn't a hyperlink. The hyperlink is what connects that address to the internet. The hyperlink is sort of like a technical thing. Either way, I suppose there's like buttons that you click on. Synths. Won't be long before Abby figures out that those AZ synths have the right neural architecture to interface with the CE, and with what she has become, how the hell do I convince her that imprisoning them in it is slavery? I gotta get out of here with the degausser before she makes the connection. Maybe that'll help her realize the path she's on. And then we have the synaptic degausser over here. A digital blueprint of the synaptic degausser opens. A text note is attached and reads, more evocatively named than technically accurate. Sure, it blanks synthetic synapses and it has a magnet, but it's a little more involved than, quote, wave and wipe, unquote. Which is good, because if Abby could replicate it, she'd wipe the personalities of those synths in a heartbeat, killing the people they have become so she could get her precious efficiency back. Not going to let that happen. Got to figure out a way to free them instead. End quote. And then we have synths. The keyword synths redirects to the computation engine, and that goes back to that, which is kind of interesting. Then we have the blueprints here. Blue's got a ton of plans and sketches on his computer, but finding something finished and useful takes some effort. And you dig, you find schematics for... Maybe as you dig? You find schematics for a tool that erases octopus ink, paper that only sticks to dead flesh, and a still incomplete machine to unboil an egg. But finally, you find an older schematic with new writing on it, showing how it could be upgraded with common materials. That paper that sticks to dead flesh, I imagine it's just a throwaway joke that doesn't actually work very well. Why is it paper that sticks to dead flesh? Isn't it a glue that sticks paper to dead flesh? Because that could have very... I mean, immediately obvious usages in medicine, or just personal hand care, really, because, you know, taking, like, calluses are basically dead flesh, that they are dead, and a lot of our skin, in fact, on top of, you know, the dead cells are also dead, but it's basically a glue that does what those little tiny fish that eat your feet. You know, the tiny fish that eat your feet? Do you know what that is? Have you seen that on the internet? Everybody has seen that on the internet. If you have not, look it up. It's interesting. And if you want to do that to yourself, go there as well. I can't recommend, because I've never done it, but I would like to. Either way, they eat dead flesh, and they bite at your feet. So you could do that with paper. it probably would be cheaper and more convenient because you wouldn't have to go to Thailand to do it. Although I'm pretty sure the US has those things. I think they exist here in Portugal, so I don't know. Anyway, step away from the terminal and you leave the machine as secure as you found it, which is to say that it isn't secure. Computer security back in the old days. It's back in the old days. Even 15 years ago, it wasn't. There's a lore book here. It wasn't like you. It was very common for people not to lock their computers. These days, it's all very easy. If you go into like, it's basically Windows and Mac. Mac, I think, has been locking. I think Mac introduced locking, auto-locking back in 2007, but Windows, I think, only started auto-locking. Well, it already was an option a while back, I think, but it, as a default, I think it only started auto-locking in Windows 8, which was 2012, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, probably 2012. So can you imagine, basically, the computer would be in the, with the screen turned off or with a wallpaper. What's it called? The thing, the screensaver, that's the one. With a screensaver or whatever, and then you just move the mouse or anything, you just turn back on, and normally, in these days, it just locks automatically. I think it locks automatically, I'm not 100% sure. I should know, because I have just reinstalled Windows 10 on my computer, and that's the reason why you might notice some changes. Specifically, I think in regards to the size of the font, I had it a little bit bigger. I forgot to change it back. This game doesn't store its preferences in files. It does it in the registry, as far as I can tell, which means I can't bring back most of anything. Either way, there's a lore book over here. It's Blues logs. Which one? Yeah, Blues log. Read. It doesn't have anything to do with the toilet. Although there could be a pun in there somewhere. Man, the stars in Abby's eyes when she looks at this ruin. That's what I love about her. She can see potential in anything, even a place like Pueblo. It's not going to be easy, though, and I'm worried her enthusiasm is going to kill some of these poor bastards who Buchanan is sending to work for us. She's in such a rush to clear the rubble and start rebuilding that she's driving them to work overtime, and without taking hardly any safety precautions. We had some guys set charges to bring down a smokestack today, and nobody called, quote, fire in the hole, unquote, before they lit the fuse. Came down right where some other guys were clearing fencing. It's a goddamn miracle nobody got hurt, and we cannot be relying on miracles. Got to get some protocols in place. Oh, that's why they mentioned protocols. I imagine in the secret base of a runaway employee, there probably wouldn't be protocols. I think it's still fair for me to say that there's no such thing as that, but at least it isn't detached. It is the thing. Blue.
You saved a bunch of lives out there, Rangers.
So you built a secret sentient toilet.
Yeah, I never was one for shared toilets. I like my privacy when well, at the same time, it can be a bit lonely, so, I solved the problem. The reason I kept it secret is, my crew looks up to me. How am I gonna keep their respect if they know I talk to my toilet?
Your secret's safe with us.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
So what do you do? I assume we're not supposed to think of his toilet as him, like, taking stuff from the team or anything. He's just an engineer. He does, like, he invents stuff. That's what is going on. He just has a private super toilet. He also, I think, stole all the toilet paper. I'm not 100% sure what happened with that. We still probably have the mission, so we might be able to figure it out later. But anyway, so what do you and your toilet talk about?
Well, I gave him a lot of philosophy books to read so we could have some deep and meaningful discussions, but he didn't like them. Turns out he only likes crap.
Yeah, well, your right-hand man is a left-handed robot?
Ha! See, you get it. Handcraft is a valued member of our team. It's a great assistant, and its positive can-do attitude is a real mood brightener.
It actually would make sense for a left-handed robot, whatever that means. Actually, it means a lot of things, actually, because, if you have a left hand as the appendix of the robot, then, yeah, it is a left-handed robot. It doesn't mean that there's other hands, because I don't think there were another hand, or there was another hand. But it would make some sense if you want your robot to be to your right, and then it would work as sort of like an extra hand to your right hand, so it'd be like I think it would. I think it would be nice. You could pick things up with 2 hands just with your right hand because you'd have the robot hand. Yeah. Yeah, I think that works. What's the difference between Markham synths that you call slaves, and so do I, and your talking toilet and screwdriver pals? Oh, right, screwdriver pals, I think it's the thing.
Simple, my fellow philosophers. Synths have actual sentience, free will, and therefore a right to self-determination. My friends are only programmed to appear self-aware. They aren't much more than mechanical mirrors of my own likes and dislikes.
Yeah. But they don't like... This is an interesting argument. But they don't like what you like. You said you tried to get your toilet to read philosophy, but it only likes trash. Well, let's see where he goes with that.
I tried to get SH to read philosophy because, I wanted to break my habit of reading trash. I figured high-minded conversations with it would spark my interest in deeper things. Sadly, like I said, it is my mirror, so it likes what I like, and finds boring what I find boring. I still try, though.
Yeah, the argument is, I mean, because it's in fiction, we can make the argument and it can have a meaning and it can have value in arguing that, oh, no, if it thinks a different thing, then it must be a different entity. But in reality, you ask any programmer and the programmers will tell you just how often software doesn't do what you want it to do. Yeah, that's 99% of the time. Because when you reach it does what you want it to do, then job's done. And 99% of the time you work on software, the job isn't done yet. And when it's done, you just stop it. That's actually not how it goes. There's a lot of work involved in other things. But the point is, yeah, it's normal for programming to result in unexpected results. And more to the point, I think the most interesting conversation is to determine how programmed a sentient being can be. Is the programming a limitation of the sentience? Sentience? You know what I mean? Like, for example, if you program a robot to like apples, and the robot is sentient, for, just it likes reading high philosophy books, and it figured it out itself, but the robot is sentient and it likes apples, would you consider the liking of the apples to be a part of its sentience, even though it is a part of its direct programming? Would you consider that like that? I would say no. And I would also say that I think it is unreasonable, not impossible, and it's complicated, but I think it's unreasonable to write fiction where robots that are programmed to act in the ways that they act, and they program in the ways that they act in the ways that they were programmed. It's unreasonable to say that those robots have sentience. And I don't think that's what happens with these robots. They weren't programmed to act the way they do. Dai basically wasn't programmed to say the exact things she says. Obviously, there's guidance in her programming and in her design and in her engineer, but guiding that's not what we're... there's guiding in our bodies, and we still consider ourselves sentient humans. I mean, there's guiding. Like, we can't just, do things or want things or like things that our bodies are not capable of in general, or our physical limitations. That's why I mean in terms of guiding. And obviously, maybe she's gonna want to protect the workers because she's been programmed, for lack of a better word, to do it like that. But maybe that's just a constraint on her programming, and that bit isn't the sentient bit. It's everything else. It's what I'm saying. It's just like, it's complicated. I don't know. For a moment there, I thought there was going to be an option to convince him that his toilet is sentient, because that conversation is very difficult, especially coming from me, Colonel RPG, not my character, coming from me, who I don't believe in sentience. That's just an illusion. It's an illusion. It's an illusion. But that's a different conversation, isn't it? How does it all work?
I program them with a broad array of preferred personality engrams, which interact with pre-programmed knowledge databases to generate an artificial consciousness that has preferences and can change directive based on those preferences.
There's the word right there. An artificial consciousness is not actually saying... That's not like a technical term. That's not like a thing that it's not like a... It's not generating an array, or it's not generating functions or classes or anything. Those are technical terms that you do. He's saying it's an artificial consciousness. So what he's saying is describing something. So the word, he should use a different word, or he could, not shouldn't, he could use a different word, and we wouldn't associate what he's saying with consciousness. Hopefully we don't pick on that, because, you know, it's artificial consciousness. It's still consciousness, even though it is artificial. Because, you know, that consciousness is inherently artificial, as in the sense of it's an artifice. It's not tangible. It's not actually what is there. It is the result of what is there, at least as far as we understand it. But either way, and as far as we understand it, and in philosophical terms as well, which is another important thing, or in cultural terms, I should say, because, you know, even if we could point to, hypothetically point to a bit of our body that says, oh, that's where the consciousness is. The actual consciousness that we say is observable. It's the result of our actions, and it's sort of testable in a sort of personal interaction sort of way. So even if you could point to a part of our body and say, oh, there's in that tiny bit over there in the brain, that's where the consciousness is. Even then, consciousness would still be bigger, and it would still be a consequence of that little bit or whatever. So it is artificial consciousness is still consciousness, because yeah. But the point is, he's not actually saying. This is not a technical term. He's just ascribing it a word. Let's see where he goes with that. Actually, where we go with that. So you program them with preferences for taking shit and screwing things. Oh, by the way, I know very little of programming. My programming background is from web development, and I have worked with, well, not worked as in professionally, but I have done stuff like this. I have tried to make web apps, effectively, one web app, make it sort of train it on a database. I have no idea what I was doing, but well, I had no idea what I was doing specifically, and it still worked. Different instances return different results. Basically, it's just, I gave it a what's the word? A preference database. Basically, it's just to use the words that the game is using, and like it was specifically programmed to 5 times out of 10 give me one result, and then the other ones would be distributed 5 times out of 10 would give me the second result out of those other 5 times, and then 5 times, and basically it gave me a what is known as a is it an average? It's not called an average distribution. There's an actual term, and it uses the word distribution. I don't know. I'm not a mathematician, but either way, it's very easy to do this. It's the preferences and stuff. So you program them with preferences for taking shit and screwing things.
Of course. Even an artificial intelligence should enjoy its work.
How do you know so much about what we have done?
I got a decent network of contacts. Buyers, sellers, makers. And same as everybody, they like to talk about current events. And been making Colorado a livelier place since you got here.
Can we ask some other things?
I suppose. What do you want to know about?
Have you ever met the Patriarch?
Yep, a few times. When we first got here. He gave us an opportunity to make our pitch. And when Abby was finished selling it to him, he gave us permission to build. Easy as 1, 2, 3. He was friendly enough, and his patronage meant we could do our work in relative safety. But I never really fell for his Father of Colorado act. All he wanted was to stay in power, and us and our guns were his tools for hanging on to it. Abby, however, loved the man. Saw him as a star she could hitch her wagon to. If he rose, she rose, and she didn't care how many bodies he stacked up on his way to the top. Hell, she'd help him make them.
The refugees don't seem to know if you're their friends or their enemies.
It's hard to help them when we're living hand-to-mouth ourselves. But we do what we can for them, little though it is. I tell myself that doing less for them now and concentrating on making Steeltown better in the future is the right thing to do in the long run. But that's a hard argument to make when people in the camp look like skeletons in snowsuits.
Okay, let's change the subject.
Of course. What's on your mind?
That's all we have for now.
Okay, then.
Okay, then. Ghost weaponized power loader. Hey, indeed. I'm glad you guys didn't kill me. Curious. Oh, there's more over here. There's an ammo crate. There's Nova. Nova, can I talk to you? Apparently not. I mean, I can. I just misclicked. Energy exosuit. Resistance to frozen. Oh, it doesn't give me resistance to... it does. It does say resistance to energy. Hey, Nova.
If Blue's cool with you, then we're cool.
Sounds good. Maintenance workers. Is this part of the factory? I thought it wasn't. It doesn't make much sense that it is. Well, actually, it does make sense. Because the access point isn't quite you know, open. So there's probably a way into the factory from here. Got a bunch of booze there, and we have a computer over here. Welcome to the break room leisure interface. Valued workers, enjoy our menu of productivity improving amenities. Please select options. Look for hidden commands. Let's see. You have discovered a hidden program called fuckravi.exe. That's Windows then. Not very well hidden, but hidden nonetheless. And we're gonna maybe not run it. Let's run it. Oh, it's a middle finger. Fuck Ravi. No, fuck rank Ravi. Right. Per the arrangement, please read the, quote, readme, unquote, notes before starting any pranks. Okay, why rank Ravi sucks. Made fun of my wife's stutter. That's... Why would you do that? Of anybody. Spit in the sink, but missed and left the loogie there. That's... Don't either. Anyway, walked over to me and farted and then walked away laughing. Okay, that's funny. Took a whole box of gummy fruit snacks back to his station. That's fair. Refused to shower even after that intervention. Okay, that's bad. The time with the beans. That's probably more fart related, so I think he gets a pass. Tried to sleep with my husband and my mum at my birthday party. Okay, that's not cool. I see that as well. Lasered his initials on my gun so he can claim it in case I die. Yeah, that's just bad. He plays, quote, smoke 2 joints, unquote, every day at 4:20. I mean, that's fair. Doesn't flush the toilet, doesn't wash his hands. Okay, that's not good. Interrupts me to complete my sentences the wrong way. Okay, that's funny. I like that. Refuses to RTFM, and I don't know what that means. Takes his shirt off for no reason. That's, yeah, not great. There's a readme too, though. Why we can't just leave rank Raffi naked in the wastes. Best sniper we have, always at work on time, knows the recipe to mushroom tikka masala. Okay. Readme 3, do not confuse rank Ravi with Rad Ravi. Seriously, Rad Ravi is awesome. Do I know Rad Ravi? I think I might. Was Rad Ravi the one that gave me the cereal that I have? And there's also Trapped in Closet Protocol. Protocol active. Monitoring system. Oh, what is that? Monitoring systems scanning for rank Ravi in the break room. Okay, cancel that. I don't want to do that. Dispense best pranks recording. Please wait. The machine whirs for a moment, and then you hear the clattering of a cassette tape landing in a small tray to the left of the keyboard.
Once, I tricked Rank Ravi into the break room by telling him I saw a miniature pony run in there. I once threw a stale roll in there, and he shouted, "Brrr!" and ran after it.
I hacked the intercom system and pretended to be a Martian commander prepping him for a secret mission to Phobos. And after a week of training, I told him to go into the break room for pickup.
I have told him a pretty blonde is asking about you in the break room 17 times.
I dressed up a dummy and leaned it up against the door frame, and he did that goddamn full body tackle right into the room.
I asked him to stand on that skateboard he's always saying he does sick ollies on, and gently pushed him. And he rolled into the office, and then he lost his balance, and his head landed in the trash can and got stuck. I handed him a muffin and asked him not to bring it to the break room, and Blue's coming.
Hey guys, can one of you use that app you think I don't know about to put Ravi in a timeout for a few hours? He taught Handcraft about the concept of bodily autonomy, and then superglued a giant floppy dildo on it where it couldn't reach.
Yeah.